So when you shoot your science films, you're going to have footage on a card like this, and you're going to want to put it on your computer. But how do we go about organizing it in a way that not only is easy to use, but will stay easy to use forever? And that's something completely different. So let's have a look at what happens when I put this into my Mac. So when I put it in, it's going to pop up with Lumix because that's the camera I was using to shoot this with. And let's take a look at what's on here. These file structures are going to be different from camera to camera. So you're often going to see DCIM pop up. Sony's going to have something different. Canon's going to have something different. But within these somewhere, you're going to find your footage. 118 underscore Panasonic is where I'm going to find mine. And they're all in here. If I open it up, we should be able to see what that footage is. Yep, that's exactly what I want. This was the footage I was taking today. And that looks fine. So how am I going to go about putting that onto my hard drive so I can use it? So let's have a look at the Extreme SSD that I'm using. It's a solid state drive. That's really the hard drive that you're using. Try and make sure that it's a good brand of hard drive, just one of the main brands that's out there. This is a SanDisk one, and this is a solid state drive, so everything transfers a bit quicker. But a regular, normal hard drive is absolutely fine. It just needs to be big enough that it can hold all your files. So let's move these over, but I don't want to just drag them all and drop them onto the top level of the hard drive. The place I'm going to put it is in my tutorial rushes. These are the ones I've been recording all week, just for you guys. So you can notice there that I've actually labeled these in a date format, but date backwards. And I do this with all of my folders. So whenever I'm on a shoot, I'll label it in the year first, and then the month, and then the day. So that when I'm going back to them later on, they actually line up from start to finish. Because otherwise, if you put the day first, and then the month, that's not really going to correspond with when you shot it. So I always put the year first, and then the month, and then the date afterwards. It's in tutorial rushes, so I'll pop in here. And I've actually shot two different types. So this course has some story elements and some film elements, as well as some editing ones too. So I know that it's in film. I want these, and I want a new folder. I've made all these are going to be my videos. So this is one video, this is another one, this is another one, and this is another one. So let's make a new folder. I'm going to call it Ron Shots, because it's our Ron Swanson Shots. And then I'm going to drag and drop all these into that folder, because that's where I want them. These will copy across then. It's going to take a little bit of a while, but this SSD will move things across quite quickly. And this isn't where all my files are going to stay. When I get back home, I've got hard drives all hooked up to my computer, and that's where all these files are going to stay permanently, because I'm going to want to come back to these time and time again. So having a good file structure where you've got the top folder for mine is actually 2021, 2020, 2019, etc., etc. And I've got a bunch of these lined up. In fact, I noticed the other day that I've got 0.1 petabytes sat on my desktop and within my computer. So this stuff adds up quite quick. And this is crucial to understand when it comes to filmmaking, is that file sizes of videos just keeps going up because the quality keeps going up. So just make sure that you know that this is going to take a lot of your hard drive space. So I would recommend going out and getting a dedicated video drive. If I can possibly push you to it, I would go out and buy two. Probably like 4 terabyte ones. They're like the Seagate ones or something like that, that you can have. One is your main drive that you edit from, and then one is a backup as well. I'd hate for you to go out and find that your hard drive's corrupted and that you can't get those files anymore. That would be really sad. So just try and make sure that you have an up-to-date hard drive that's quite big that you can edit from. Now, a lot of people say don't edit from external hard drives. And whilst that's true, a lot of people now, their laptops or their computers won't have very big hard drives in them. So you can edit from an external hard drive, but it might just take a little bit more time, because you can see that this is taking a little bit of time to copy across. So when your software is trying to edit from one thing to the other and it's using that hard drive, it's going to be limited to the speed of the hard drive. So just make sure that you know that that's a limitation when you're organizing your footage and when you're using your editing software. So I've got my run shots in here now. Now what I can do is I can go through here and I can actually edit these one by one. So I can hit this one. I know this was a 20mm run shot. So I can put that in and I can name them up front. And that actually really does help on the back end. So when you come back to these in maybe a year's time and go, I really want those shots, this is really, really crucial, going through and naming them one by one. What you could do, if they're all just run shots, what you could do is just label them all, right click, and this works in Windows as well, rename, and then rename the Finder items, name format, name and an index. I want this as run shot, and then starts with numbers at 1, and each one is going to be called run shot 1, 2, 3, 4, and the likes. And now we've got all the run shots labeled in there. I can go through with each one of my sets of shots and I can name them something completely different. So just try and be organized up front when it comes to your footage and when you get it onto your hard drive and where it sits forevermore. You might want to, when you come down the line making more and more science films, come back to these and actually find, okay, I was on that volcano back in 2018. I want to find that shot. How do I go about finding it? It's within this mess. Or do you want to come back to it and say, I know exactly where that is. It was 2018, it was this month, and it was on this trip. So I can come straight back to it, and it was the run shot that I had on that trip. Don't name everything run shots, just name it in a really easy, understandable format, and you can always come back to it for your science films.